In this exercise, given your null and alternative chosen in Part E, you see in the alternative that it is a two-tailed alternative. It's two-tailed because we notice that the alternative has a not equal sign in it, which means we aren't really sure if it's going to be above the mean, if it's rather below the claimed mean, and so it might be out here in this tail, or it might be out here in this tail. And in Part C, we're having some difficulty finding the p-value given the z-score of negative 3.37. So what you have to do is you've got a z-score, so you have to pull up table 4, your table of standard normal distributions, and look up a z-score of negative 3.3 in the far left column, and then go over to the third column in from the left where you see a 0.07 at the heading of that column. And we're choosing that column because in our test, in our z-score, we have a 7 in the hundredths place. What we notice when we look at that is that the area to the left is 0.0004. Now, if this were a left-tailed test, then that would in fact be our p-value. But this is a two-tailed test, so we don't know if we could have ended up down below the mean, which is where we actually did end up with our data, or we might have been up here in the upper tail with the same area. So what you basically have to do in a two-tailed test is you have to double the value you get in your table. And so if I double 0.0004, I get 0.0008. And in Part C, it says to round to 3 decimal places as needed, and therefore that would in fact round to 0.001. So now we want to remember that when p is low, we reject the hoe. And so when we look at Part D, we have a low p-value. It's very small. It's much smaller than the alpha level given to us in the stem of the problem. That's called a significance level. So basically when our p is low and below that significance level, we'll reject the hoe. So we can rule out choices B and D because they're choosing to fail to reject the hoe. So the question is it A or is it C? Well, when you reject, you have sufficient evidence. So A says, reject the hoe. There is sufficient evidence to reject the claim that the mean tuna consumption is equal to 3.6 pounds. When you fail to reject, that's when you have insufficient evidence.